They're becoming more affordable, but I think people also, want to have the same access to make sure they can charge and get around the state. And so we're sensitive to that on the Turnpike. And so the Turnpike, we're moving on that. And we have several companies here who are contributing to the effort: Florida Power and Light, Duke Energy, Nova Charge, Green Lots, and Tesla. And we want to thank them and want to continue to work with them. The development of charging infrastructure is essential to increasing the number of electrical vehicles on our streets. So this is a good development here at the Turnpike, but of course there's more to be done. In 2018, Florida, like many other states, became a beneficiary of the Volkswagen emissions settlement, and as a result has been allocated $166 million to improve air quality. And today I'm proud to announce that Florida's beneficiary mitigation plan, the plan for how Florida intends to spend and use the $166 million, is now available for public comment. After the public comment period ends, we will make any final changes to the plan and submit it to the trustees. One of the things that we're doing as part of that plan is allocating the maximum amount of dollars allowable under the plan for electric charging infrastructure. They cap the total amount you can do at 15%, which in this case will come out to just under $25 million. So our mitigation plan has the full 15% allowable under the plan to be dedicated to that. And so the goal is, as you see, what we're doing on the Turnpike now, we want to be able to have similar fast charging stations across all of Florida's major highways. And so if you're driving from 95 from Miami to Daytona Beach, you can rest assured, get off an exit just like you get gasoline, you're going to have the ability to have access to this. And so we think that that's very important for facilitating more electrical vehicle use, and we look forward to working with some of the companies who are involved in this space, because they're doing a lot as well. And so I think the fact that more affordable options are being introduced to the market, and when motorists see that they have the ability to charge, they're not going to be left out, and they have confidence in that, I think that's going to be very, very good. So in addition to the charging stations, we have, I think, 70% of the plan, consistent with the restrictions that they put on, is for improvements to mass transit, school buses, things that can emit a lot of emissions. And so we'll be looking at options there on the electrical side for that. And then the other 15% we have in moving from really dirty diesel to much cleaner diesel. And those are on things like tugboat engines, which there's really not an electrical option, and so you're really seeing a dramatic reduction. And then we can leverage federal dollars from the EPA to get even more money for it. So I think all in all, I think it's a good plan. Florida has some of the best air quality in the country, but we want to continue the momentum on that, and we want to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place for the vehicles of the future. So I have a couple folks here who are going to say a few words. We have Secretary Tebow, who's our FDOT secretary, and then we have our DEP secretary, Noah Valenstein, and then I'll take a few questions. Where's Tebow?
Right here. Okay. Good morning, and glad to be here today. Florida Department of Transportation is truly honored to host this event at Turkey Lake with Governor DeSantis and with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Secretary Noah Valenstein. When Governor DeSantis took office, he made it very clear his statewide transportation goals included technology and to take Florida to the next level, as you heard him say. And today is the latest example of that, Florida embracing the transportation future. To make sure Florida continues to be a leader in infrastructure using technology, we must continue to make investments and adapt as technology and drivers and their behavior evolves. As automobile technology evolves, as you see here behind us, and develops and becomes more environmentally sensitive and conscious, electric vehicles definitely are on our roadways today, and the Department of Transportation will work with our partners, like DEP, as well as working with the governor and other agencies to ensure necessary resources like electric charging stations are available in our major corridors. This is an exciting time for transportation in Florida, and the Department of Transportation is ready to help ensure that we achieve the governor's vision for a modern, robust transportation system. And with advancements like this one, we are ensuring the protection of our great state for future generations. Now I'll turn it over to my counterpart, Representative Valenstein.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you.
It's great to join the Governor and Secretary this morning for this event, and it's an honor to serve as Secretary for the Department of Environmental Protection alongside a dedicated group of employees who work on a daily basis through our regulatory and monitoring programs to ensure we've got great air quality here in the state of Florida, as well as providing grants to work with private and public entities to make sure every day we're working to have the best environment in the nation. This is an exciting step forward. Since 2000, Florida's actually reduced industrial air emissions by 78%. This is another opportunity to continue that trajectory forward to make sure every year we're working to improve our environment. And it's amazing to join the governor at so many events and so many different aspects of Florida to see that focus on the environment. On July 17th, the department published the draft mitigation plan for the Volkswagen settlement. We're looking forward to receiving as many public comments as possible leading into August 16th for the close of that public comment. To date, we've already had more than 2,000 individuals be involved in commenting and participating in that process, and we look forward to more. This is going to be another great step forward through electric charging stations, through electric fleet vehicles, and through improvements in lower emission diesel engines to continue to see air quality improve in the state of Florida. Governor, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Now, one of the things too is for drivers, as the vehicles become more affordable, it's amazing how much cheaper it is to just charge a vehicle than to have to fill up a gas tank. And so, as technology evolves, we hope that that'll be reflected in people's pocketbooks. So we want to make sure we have the infrastructure in place to make that a reality. So thank you for coming. I'm happy to take a couple questions before I leave.
Governor Curtis McLeod, with Spectrum News 13. I have a question about a different subject I want to ask you in regards to...
Yeah, and I'll do that, but does anyone have any questions about this first, and then you want to go off? Okay.
The construction's going to start by the end of the year. When will it be finished?
Yeah, so that'll be,
Sure, the duration's usually between 45 and 60 days. It just depends on each location. So about 2 months.
And then obviously that is what we're doing just as a state anyways. The mitigation plan, obviously that needs to be approved. And so when we're talking about putting these things, on exits on 75, I-4, 95, that is just we're going to have to just get through that bureaucratic process. And then we probably will be having, I think it's going to be competitively bid. We obviously look at the private sector partners. We would love, to be able to join forces so that we can, stretch the money even further. So that will involve some other stuff. But this stuff, I basically made it clear, I want to get this done quickly. And I thought, coming into office, I actually thought that we had already done this as a state. So we need to make sure we do that on the Turnpike. Okay. Oh, what? Yeah, go ahead.
Melissa here with Florida National News. Just piggybacking off of what you said, how gratifying is it for you to see it done now, especially charging stations like this going forward?
Well, it's good. I mean, I think that, I've had some friends through the years who've had electric vehicles, and, one of the things that they had concerns about was, if they're just driving locally, they can charge it at their house, a lot of times even at their work now, but if they're going long distances, they didn't always necessarily know where the charging was going to be, and you have it on the computer or whatever. Oh, good save. Well, so in Florida, I think, once we do this and then do this mitigation settlement, if you have a trip, you're going to drive 200-300 miles, you're not going to have to worry. I mean, there's definitely going to be a place. It's just like if you're getting in your car now, I don't worry if I'm driving from Tampa to Daytona Beach on I-4 that there's no gasoline. Obviously, you get off at the exit, you're going to do it. So I think it's good, and I think that will kind of remove maybe one disincentive for people to go electric, and I think that it'll be good for the state. Okay.
Governor, with the recent resignation of the director of the state's guardianship program, is calling into question oversight into that program. Do you feel that people should be concerned about that program?
Well, we are obviously concerned with some of the reports. The Secretary Purdom is pursuing it, and I told him to pursue it vigorously. This one individual, there may be some serious legal consequences, and I think that that's appropriate. But what I told all my agencies to do is, look, take 6 months. Figure out what's going on, figure out what needs to be done, and so they've been reporting back to me over the course of July. I got some more I'm going to meet with, but we'll take whatever action we need to. And as we look at this guardianship program, if there needs to be legislative changes, those could be something that we would propose for the next legislative session. So I think that there's going to be action taken, whether it's administratively or legislative or a combination, because I think something needs to be done.
Governor, as a result, the DNRs that were ordered, now many of them are being reversed. Some are talking that criminal charges, possibly manslaughter charges, could be coming down. What does your office plan to do to keep something like this from ever happening again?
Well, look, I think that those potential charges, if the facts are there, holding someone accountable, I think is totally appropriate, and that obviously will help ensure that people don't do this in the future if they know there's going to be consequences. If there's things we need to do on the administrative level, we obviously will want to do that. And then, as I said, if there's legislative changes that need to be made, those are things that we'll be willing, if needed, to propose to the legislature. But I do think, the criminal aspect of this, to me, is definitely something that needs to be looked at, and holding people accountable when they do things like that, to me, sends a very strong signal that was unacceptable conduct.
Sir, back to transportation for a second. The MDX suit goes before a judge in Tallahassee. You're a limited government kind of guy. Why is this not a violation of Miami-Dade's home rule?
Because it was created by statute. It was not created by Miami-Dade home rule. The legislature created it under statute. And if you notice, they're suing me as governor. Well, this is a state law. They should be suing the state. I'm really not even a proper party to this. But I don't understand how you could say that if the state creates an entity, that it is forever frozen from ever getting rid of that entity or changing the entity. So I just think it's misplaced. And look, this was not my idea. This emanated from frustration down in Miami-Dade with the motorists who were getting tolled to death down there. The bureaucracy was very opaque, and they weren't responsive to the needs. And so you had the local legislature said that this would be a better course of action. So, I listened. To me, it sounded like the folks were dissatisfied with the status quo, so we moved forward. But, look, at the end of the day, you can fight these battles politically, and you win some, you lose some. But if you lose a political battle, it doesn't mean there's a legal outlet for it. And so, my folks don't think it has a lot of merit, but we'll go ahead and see how it shakes out. And then, we've already put in our appointees on the board. Hopefully, the county will also follow suit. And then, look, at the end of the day, I think what we want for Miami-Dade motorists is toll relief, because these are folks that have to spend a lot of time in traffic. The people that make, blue-collar wages are the ones that are getting hammered by this, and I think the new approach portends some relief for them, and so I think that's a good thing.
Governor, your thoughts on the resignation of Puerto Rico's governor possibly today?
I don't know. I don't know if the reports are true, but what I would say is, I worked with the Congresswoman there, Jennifer